Know this. Introducing the original blood clot podcast, not players. Soothing semantic. Special dedication. All the way from New York. Boom. Yeah, man. SWOT semantic. Yeah, me know. Boom. Soothing semantic. Yeah, me know. Big ups to the man. Soothing semantic.
On another episode of Soothing Semantics, I am your host, Rafi Pinsky. Make sure to subscribe, smash the like button, leave your comments, tell all of your friends and fam, your dog, your pet goose, about the pod. Without further ado, we have Drew Loranger. That's how you pronounce the name, right?
Yeah.
Drew Loranger.
Yes, sir.
AKA Drew's the Move, a mortgage mastermind. Someone I've heard people have spoken very highly of you. And excited to have you on, man.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. Well, I appreciate you inviting me on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We are here.
I know, man. It was great. I appreciate you reaching out this morning to confirm, too, because I'm sure you're familiar. The industry is crazy right now. So we've just been so busy. And it's nice to take a break. I actually enjoy doing this. And it's super relaxing, so I appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely, dude. I'm excited to step into it.
Yeah, man, for
so
sure.
First off, the lighting is fairly new, and it's I made a joke about your head before, and it looks very nice.
Yeah, thank you. It's freshly shaved.
No, dude, you rock it very nicely. I wonder when I'm in that I'm at that point where I decide if I want to rock the bald look or if I want to get one of those Turkish hair things. Yeah, because during my army service, I had a buzz for a long time. Even before I went to the army, I was really wanted to go, so I had a very short haircut for a very long time, and it was only after the army that I kind of grew my hair out. So
dude, you gotta let it go when it's time.
Why do you say that as opposed to
when it's time? I mean, you have a great head of hair, so it's not necessary. But when it's starting to fade and it's starting to go, you just gotta rock with it. I tried to hold on to it for a few years, and then one day I just was like, you know what, it's done.
By the way, you could totally curse as much as you want. Just letting you know.
No, it was crazy. My confidence shot through the roof.
Really?
Yeah.
I think I'll totally rock it. It's not really a concern. I'd rather have the hair, but if it happens, it happens. But we'll worry about it when the time comes.
That's it.
So let's get into your upbringing, because you did mention you grew up in Virginia, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm a country boy. So, yeah, man, I was actually born in upstate New York. My parents moved down to Virginia because my grandparents had been living there at the time. My whole family's from Boston. So my grandparents, they wanted to retire. They moved to Virginia, super chill in the mountains, nothing going on. And so, yeah, my parents, they moved down, and I grew up in the super country town. And it was completely polar opposite of Miami. My first job was baling hay and alfalfa on a farm. And that was my dad's way of pushing me to go to college because I was screwing off in high school. And he was just like, look, you're going to get a job, you're going to go work, and then you're going to do real work that I had to do when I was growing up so that you can learn, why you need to go to college, why this is important. And so, yeah, that's what happened, man. It was brutal. It was brutal work.
Did you have any cow milking, things like that?
No. It wasn't that type of farm. So we were growing specifically alfalfa, orchard grass, and hay for racehorses to eat. That was their feed.
Interesting. So your family was all involved in that?
No, it was literally just me. My dad just wanted to teach me a lesson. My parents are my dad, he did it when he was growing up. And then he went into the trade, and then he went to school. And so he was a professor at a local university, and then my mom was director of public relations and communications at another university, which ended up being my alma mater. Cool. Yeah, my whole family's in upper education, and it's just that was the path. But my dad wanted to kind of teach me work ethic from a young age.
That's important. It's very important. I was a waiter for many years, 8 years. So that's good. All these tedious jobs where manual labor jobs, they're good when you're young, man.
Oh, for sure.
Because they really teach you to get your hands dirty. You don't make a ton of money, but you have to show up every day and deal with a lot of nonsense. You don't kind of get that cushioned lifestyle.
No, absolutely.
Of getting a nice air conditioned desk job. You have to, it's these
things.
Yeah, no,
the nitty gritty is really where leaders are born.
Definitely.
I can tell you with confidence that every adversity that I've ever faced or every challenge has propelled me into a different stage of my life and made me a better leader as a result of it. Because oftentimes, you know, you have to humble yourself when you're going through adverse situations, and you have to fall back as oftentimes not being the leader, but being kind of like in a servant leader position or being a follower until you get your shit back together or wherever, whatever it is. You know, it's kind of in that rock bottom moment that you're like born through the distress.
Without a doubt. There was a thing Andy Frisella said about this. You're familiar with him?
Yeah, I'm familiar with him, but I haven't heard the
First Form. He has that company.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So I'm gonna show it to you. He talks about how during the hard times the winners are born. That's what really tests you. So that's great. Okay, so you dealt with the hay and the alfalfa.
Yeah, man.
And then what happened from there? You went to school.
Yeah, I went to school. Dude, it's crazy because to be completely honest with you, I was kind of like after that job, and really kind of even at that job, like every job I ever had, I really just screwed off at. Like I was always the bottom producer in every sales job I ever had. I was always doing the bare minimum to get by at every 9 to 5 I had. Every job, my internships, everything. I was just like skating by.
What do you think that is?
I just was disinterested. It wasn't important to me. And like, quite frankly, I've never had a problem making money. I always had a problem saving money. So it was like the money was always coming in. So I wasn't really like concerned about it. It was more so like saving it because I was always blowing it and just whatever. But, you know, I was definitely always really just nonchalant. I didn't really care. And that really all changed when I had been in this beautiful condo and I had put myself up in this beautiful condo in Brickell. I had a nice car. I had a mortgage operation that I was running, had a bunch of employees. We were crushing it. And I went off on the side and tried to start this tech company with my buddy. Total flop. I lost everything. I literally lost everything. I lost my condo, lost my car. I was 6 figures in debt.
Oh, shit.
And I was just like at really rock bottom. I had several jobs leading up to this moment.
What did you do for a living? Did you sleep on people's couches? What did you do to live?
Yeah, so I was sleeping on a friend's couch in Brickell at this point, trying to get this business going.
And also real fast.
Yeah.
First of all, I love these stories because you don't know really much at all about me, but I grew up with my grandmother. So we grew up very poor. So I love these stories because you do have people in our industry that didn't have these challenges necessarily. Yeah. So I really relate to these kind of stories. So you had 6 figures in debt. What did your friends or family think when you crashed on your friend's couch? They initially had this idea of you being the successful guy with the nice car and the condo. Now everything goes to shit. How did you feel that their relationship was with you? Because you're kind of up there. And
yeah. Well, it's interesting because when I was up there, you know, I had a very successful mortgage operation. It was a call center, and we were doing VA loans. It was all just refis. These IRRRLs, you know, they're like super clean cut, easy VA deals, and we were churning these things like crazy. And so we were making a lot of good money. I mean, to put myself up in a condo was not a hard feat at the time. I was making fantastic money, but I didn't care about it. And I was just like, I was still, in my opinion, I was working hard, but I was still, compared to now, doing the bare minimum, you know, and I was successful at it. And so I was working so much that the only friends and close relations that I had were a few outside of work, but everybody at the office, all my employees, everybody, you know, we were a squad. That was our crew. And then I had, you know, obviously my family, but they're all still in Virginia. So when the whole thing came crumbling down, my business kind of just dissipated. The employees, I had to start letting them go. Some people left on their own, like things where I was so mentally fatigued from this tech failure that, you know, it wasn't working out, and I kind of lost the business. And so I went from like bringing in all this cash to like bringing in nothing, and I still was trying to keep up with this lifestyle. And it was crazy because at the time I cared so much what other people thought that I was trying to sustain a lifestyle on social media that I had previously been easily able to afford, but no longer could.
It's so hard not to care because...
And it was like, yeah, it was crazy. So everybody thought that, to answer your question, like everybody thought that I was still doing well. No, very, very few people knew. My parents knew, my business partner knew, the CEO of my company knew, and one other person knew.
Damn. So you tried your best to kind of keep up the facade as long as you
I kept on the facade. And to be quite honest, looking back at it, keeping up that facade is the reason why I went into so much debt, because I was still trying to keep it up and the money wasn't coming in. So
what did you do you were bowling out on certain things? Like what were you doing that
just Man, it was just everything. Like, I still was going out. I was still eating. I was still drinking, buying bottles, like acting crazy. You know, the Miami thing. Mm-hmm. And it was like when finally I reached a certain point where my friend, she went out of town and I couldn't stay at her place. And I had no friends at this moment in time that night that were letting me stay at my place. So I slept in my storage unit. Fuck. And it was like a couple, I didn't even want to tell anybody.
Did you have AC in there?
No, bro. So it was a couple nights where I slept in the storage unit. And
did you have a fan?
No, bro. It was bad. It was
I would have
bad.
gotten a fan at least.
It was bad. I was on this couch and it was dusty and nasty. And I was just like, dude, this wasn't even my storage unit. It was so it was a lot, bro.
This is juicy, man.
Yeah, man. Good. So it got crazy. Put
your seatbelts on, guys.
Yeah. So I was like really praying about it. This whole situation happened. And then I was like, I just felt God tell me like, you need to go home. And so I called my parents up and I was just like, hey, you know, I've made the decision. I was praying about it and like, I need to come home. Like, God's been calling me to leave for a while. I've been trying to keep up this lifestyle for like 6 months and it's like, it's met its end. I have all my credit cards are maxed out. I can't even afford a flight home. So I was like, I have a few things left in the storage unit. Like, can you guys?
How long ago was this, Drew?
This was probably 4 years ago.
It's not even a long time ago.
No, it wasn't. And so, yeah, they were like, they start crying and they're like, we've been praying about this. Like, we wanted you home. Like, we knew something was going on, but you weren't telling us. And like, we wanted you back.
It's the guy thing, man. Like,
yeah,
you're going through shit and you feel like nobody's actually going to do anything.
Yeah.
So you just fight through it. But like, the reality is you do always need to consult and confide in people. But I think most people are not really there to help.
No.
Not because they're bad people, just because the reality is everyone's got their own shit to do.
Yeah, everybody's focused on their own shit.
Right.
Usually.
So like, when you are going through tough times, I think it is best to a certain degree hold it together and just push through it. To start, you know, rambling on to everybody in the world about how tough everything is, I think it's
and it's not good energy. Other people pick that up, they don't even want to be around it. Totally. And to be quite honest, I realized there were a couple people who were actually almost like happy that I was going through it.
For sure.
You know,
because
and I was
brings
just
you down to their level.
Yeah, yeah. So it was like, I had one guy in particular and he was just like, he had always kind of been picking my brain and he was like, he saw what I was doing and he wanted to do it. And then when that moment happened, he was like, almost like happy.
What gave you that feeling that he was happy?
Just the way that he was like smiling and he was like a little chuckling about it. And I was just like, bro, what the hell?
In person? Yeah. Yo, that's fucked up.
Yeah, bro. So, you know, what's crazy is like when you're in that moment, like you feel like your world's ending and it's falling apart. And I did. And it's so crazy because I was watching a video. I was going through my phone and I have a video from the day before I left. And I'm walking through Brickell and I'm sitting on this bench right across from Brickell City Center across the water. And I'm like crying on the bench. And I'm like, this is what happened to me. I tried to do this. It didn't work out. Like
you posted a video.
I never posted it. It's sitting on my phone.
Oh, you were going to?
I was going to post it and I never posted it.
Oh, dude, honestly, I think that would have been a bad idea.
Yeah, no, it would have been terrible.
Yeah, that wouldn't have been a good idea.
It was more so for my records. And
there are people that would tell you it would be a good idea. Like,
it's authentic.
Be yourself, be vulnerable. Yeah, my ass.
But you know what's crazy is I ended up moving home. I couldn't file bankruptcy. I was trying to file bankruptcy, but I couldn't because the law, once you leave the state and you're living in a new state of domicile, you have to have an address there for 6 months before you can file. So the attorney said. So I couldn't even file bankruptcy. I'm like, in all this debt, it's costing me like $11,000 a month. And so I'm like, I made a call. I called the CEO of the company that I had run a branch for in Miami. He lived in Maryland. And I said, dude, I need a job. This is what happened. I moved back home. I'm so sorry that I let the branch go to shit. Like, I'm expecting he's going to tell me to fuck off. And he was like, when can you come in? He's like, we got an open desk here in Maryland. And I'm like, no shit. So I'm like, the place is 2.5 hours from my parents' house. So I drive out there. I look at the shop. He's like, can you start tomorrow? I'm like, bro, I literally will start tomorrow. I'll start today. Okay. I already knew the thing. I already knew the role. I knew how to make the calls. Like, I had trained dozens of guys on how to do this. And so I ended up...
That's humbling as fuck.
Yeah,
though,
bro.
Because you were at the top of it and now you have to work for somebody.
Yeah, now I had to work for them.
I love these stories. I'm stoked.
So, dude, I go to Craigslist. So I find a little room, bro. I rented a room for $500 a month in Maryland in this guy's basement.
Well, how did you afford it? Because of the money you were getting now? From...
No, I had no money. I had to borrow money from my parents. so I could get this place for, and needed he wanted first, last security. It was $1,500. I couldn't do it. I said, dude, let me get first and last. I promise you I'll make it up. Like I explained the situation to him. I'm like, I'm going to make this fucking money. Like I'm going to make it happen. And then I didn't tell him about the debt or anything. He was like, okay, no problem. I was sleeping on a futon mattress like this thin on the floor in this little room, and all my clothes were set up on the floor because there was no like, and so I did this. I go into the office. I literally worked 18 to 20 hours every single day. I did not make any friends other than 2 friends in Maryland because I met them at the gym. The only things I did was I would go to the gym in the morning, I would go straight to work, and I worked all fucking day until night. I would go back home. There was no service in the fucking basement, so I had to download a podcast or download a YouTube video or something before I got there so I could listen to it at night. And so I was listening. Honestly, one of the things that got me through this period of time was it was called Crazy Faith, which was a sermon series by a pastor named Michael Todd out of Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Why do I feel like I know who that is? I'm
Mike
Jewish.
Todd, he's big.
He's he's a southern, Oklahoma, but he's got like that drawl, very thick drawl, no?
Not so. He's kind of got like a little accent, but it's like.
You said Michael Todd?
Mike Todd, yeah.
Hold on. I want to just search this up real quick.
Dude, this guy was, he really helped me through this period. He had 2 sermon series. One was called Planted Not Buried, and one was called Crazy Faith. And it was crazy because I busted my ass every single day. I didn't go out. I got invited by random people to come out, and all the employees were there. And I'm like, fuck that. Like, I do not want to fucking be here. It was the middle of winter. I'm freezing. It's snowing out. I just left Miami. I've been here for years. I'm not used to this shit.
You probably missed Miami.
I would cry every fucking night because I did not want to be in the shithole. And I was like, I would go to this rundown piece of shit office and I would bang out the phone calls with these rednecks. And I was like, dude, I don't want to fucking be here. I was like, this is just not it. And dude, I hustled and hustled and hustled. And within 6.5 months, I had paid off all the debt. And then in another month, I had saved up enough money for me to move back.
So you knew as soon as you were able to, you were coming back.
I knew what I wanted, and I did not want to fucking be there.
Right.
I just wanted to be in Miami. That's the only thing I cared about. And I was so set on that goal that I didn't spend money frivolously. I didn't go out. I didn't do shit. I literally just saved every dollar I had, and everything went into the debt. I did the snowball method. What's it? Dave Ramsey. Dave Ramsey has this thing for paying off debt called the snowball method, where you list all of your debts from smallest to largest, and you're paying off all the small ones first to get little wins. And then you pay off the big ones. But every time I would get a huge check, I would knock out a big one because the interest rates are insane, right? Some of them were like 29%. 29% on 100K. Well, it was 148,000.
Damn.
So, yeah, man. So
leg is cramped.
So yeah, that was that, bro. I ended up getting a job in the purchase business.
Damn, $148,000, bro. That's crazy.
Yeah. So
there's people who have a lot more than that, but I mean. I can go all day. There are people who have millions. I know a dude who has like $1 million of debt, and
most of my clients do. I do mostly $1 million plus loans. So most of my clients.
Oh, but I'm not talking about.
But you mean bad debt? You mean bad
debt?
Yeah, bad debt, dude. That's not fun. But dude, debt is like the just most horrifying stone of weight that you could possibly carry.
Because you're so beyond broke at that point. Like when you have
you have a negative equity, you have a negative net worth, and you are quite literally a slave to someone.
It sucks
because every dollar that you make has to go into the debt.
It's crazy.
So you could be like, dude, I think that, I made all that money and I didn't get to keep a dollar of it. So I used to be so upset because I'd be like, I just made a $40,000 check and I don't get to keep a fucking dime. I mean, I could have easily just said, I'll make the minimum payment and I'll just hang out and make some friends in Maryland and just screw off for a couple years. But I was like, fuck that, bro.
You knew what you wanted. You were forward thinking.
Yeah. I had a purpose.
You got to give yourself such a pat on the back for that because there's so many people that don't think like that. I even have people who talk to me about this. They're like, why are you thinking so far ahead? Like, I'm 28, right? And I think about where I want to send my kids to private school.
Damn.
And I don't know when I'm getting married. I don't know when I'm having kids. I don't know exactly where I'll live in Florida. But my goal is literally get married in the next few years, live in Fort Lauderdale most likely, send my kids to a Jewish private school. I already have the private school in mind.
That's awesome.
Why would I not have that planned?
Yeah.
Because that's all going to... These Jewish private schools are a lot of money, dude. A lot of money. They're like $30K a year. Good ones. The good ones? Yeah.
Get out of here.
Yeah, bro. But they're really good. Like, You're not dealing with gangs. I mean, you could send your kids to private schools that, aren't, Catholics, whatever, but you don't have gang violence. You don't have drugs. Maybe you have kids smoking weed in high school, but like you don't have anything serious like that. So, and it's great networking, great connections, safe environment. These kids either go to great colleges. If my kid doesn't want to go to college, that's fine as long as he or she has a plan.
Or some type of incredibly masterful skill set.
Yeah. For me, I'm definitely not anti-college, but I don't want my kid to just get some BS political science degree.
Yeah.
Like if I'm gonna put any of my money towards their college, if you're trying to get
unless you have them like beelined for a politics career.
If that, I don't know. I think that's often a silly thing to do, but hey, if
they're
really adamant about it,
I totally agree, man. Look, what's crazy is that some of the most successful people in my industry do not have a degree.
Oh, that's something that's generally the case.
Yeah, and walking out of college with a degree, I had literally shit for work ethic.
Yeah.
I just wanted a 9-to-5. I wanted to like make my little coin and go home. And when I got that, I hated it. I hated it with a passion. So when I left college, I got a job at Edward Jones Investments, and I got my Series 7, 66. I became a stockbroker and or financial advisor. And so they flew me out to St. Louis. They trained me for 6 months on how to quite literally go knock on doors in neighborhoods and try to bring people into the office. So we were like door knockers. And so I moved to Washington, D.C., and I was doing this, and I fucking hated it. And so I ended up leaving. I went to Merrill Lynch, hated that too. And then I'm calling my buddy, who's currently now my business partner and was my business partner in the tech company that failed. And I'm like, bro, I fucking hate this shit. And he's like, why don't you move to Miami? The money's great. I'm doing mortgages. And I'm like, he tells me what he's making. I'm like, it's like out of the Wall Street movie. I'm like, The Wolf of Wall Street. I'm like,
the 70K
there's
thing.
No fucking way you're making that much money. Yeah, the 70K thing. And I'm like, show me your pay stub and I'll quit my fucking job right now and work for you, So anyways, I fly down here, and like he's showing me the operation, how much they're making, like all this stuff. And I'm like, dude, fuck DC. Right? I'm moving to Miami. I fell in love, bro. The palm trees, the women, the
love it here, man.
I mean, dude, I was obsessed. The weather, it was like late November, right? So it was gorgeous here. And
there's negatives though, man. Like real quick, just
go ahead.
Caveat. The plus sides, the warm weather, the politics. I'm a conservative dude. I'm not gung ho conservative. Blah. I'm not a big political person at all, but I'm definitely more conservative. And in terms of the way the government is, DeSantis, COVID, taxes,
bro, this was a great place to be.
This is me, man. This is what I love. Though the thing that's tough for a lot of people when they do come here, and I've noticed this with a few people, is they get sucked into the party life.
Oh, I did too.
So for me, when I was in high school and college, I was a heavy partier. I still worked as a waiter throughout that. Like I wasn't always partying, but I partied a lot. And when I came down here, I knew what it was. I came here 3 years ago from New York. I grew up in New York, and I knew what it was like. So I purposely moved to Aventura to not be in that whole crazy ass
Dude, I purposely moved to Brickell so I could be in the middle of it.
It's good for business, but like, fuck, man. It's like, because think about it, man. If you could match with some girl on an app. If it's a Tuesday, she's in the neighborhood. Somebody you know is in the neighborhood. Your friends from New York or Boston or whatever. Yo, let's go out. It's Tuesday. I'm gonna be here for 2 days, bro. I gotta see you. I haven't seen you.
God.
But if you're in Aventura,
you're like, no, I live like an hour.
I live 40 minutes away. I just got home from work. Like you can much more easily get out of it.
That's true.
Where if you're in Brickell, you're like, bro. They're like, bro, you're down the block from the club. Come on, bro. Like you can't.
I have a super valid excuse now that I'm so fucking busy.
Well, you can also just say I'm not. The reality is, you just say fuck. I'm not doing it. But if you have a close friend you haven't seen in like 6 months, there's the guilt there, right? So I'm sure at this point in your life, you've built the confidence that you understand that these people are not paying your bills.
Oh, for sure.
And they might be a little bitter towards you, but they'll get over it. And at the end of the day, your goals are more important than doing whatever they want to do.
No, of course.
But like, again, if you're in that environment, it's a lot harder to say no to it. So
yeah, that's true.
That's why I came out here, even though it's a lot quieter and less happening.
I love the energy. Like I love New York. New York is my like. I was in New York last week. I just got back on Monday, and I was like, when I'm in New York, I just feel like motivated. I feel inspired. I feel like the energy is just uplifting, and it kind of redirects me back towards my goals. So if I ever feel lazy, or I feel like I'm in a slump, or I feel like just things are not aligned, I literally book a flight to New York. That is my go-to place.
Interesting.
And I will book a flight to New York. I'll book something in Midtown like Murray Hill, or even in meatpacking. Or actually, last time, a couple months ago, I went out to Brooklyn and I stayed at the One Hotel, right?
That's where I'm from Brooklyn, yeah.
Okay. And Dumbo. So I was like, there's just something about it that like resets and recalibrates me. It's literally my go-to place. And I think everybody should have a go-to place. For some people, it's the ocean. For some people, they need to go, I had an ex-girlfriend and she was like, I need to go to the ocean to reset. Like if I'm too far away for too long, I don't feel calibrated. I have another friend that's like, I go on a hike in fucking Aspen or in somewhere in Colorado, in Denver. Boulder's where it is. And so it's like everybody has that little place, or should, where they feel like they can center and they can reconnect. And oftentimes it's like, it's out in nature. So like if I feel like I'm getting a little too, like I'm spending too much money and maybe I'm a little too cocky or something's going on, I'll go back to Virginia and get humbled real quick.
Interesting.
But if I feel like I'm in a slump, New York is my spot.
Wow, because it's funny because people that live in New York all the time feel like they need more of a break.
Yeah.
So you're in Miami where it's a little more relaxed. I mean, in Brickell it's pretty happening.
Yeah.
But you go there to get more of that.
Yeah.
That hustle.
Yeah, it's just
it's concrete jungle.
No, I love it, man. So that's basically kind of what happened. I was in DC. My buddy was crushing it. I came out here, fell in love with the place. He was like, you need to get your license if you're going to come. And so I'm like, bro, I studied for the 7. Like, this is going to be cake, the mortgage license. And it was. I studied for it. Within 2 weeks, I went back to DC. It was freezing. It was literally November. I'm freezing my ass off. I'm like, fuck this. I want to go back to Miami. It's beautiful there. I'm on the phone with my buddy every day. Within that 2-week period, I had studied for my exam, passed my exam, sublet my apartment, sold my car, and packed everything into a rental and moved down here within 2 weeks.
It's amazing.
And then
that's quick.
Man, within the first, I guess I was here for 3 months, and then the company shuts down.
Why?
They just shut down the whole Miami operation.
It's so weird. Why'd they shut it down?
There was no reason. So I don't know. They didn't give us a reason. They just let us all go, gave us a little check, and we're like, good luck. So yeah, man, I bounced around for a couple years until I found that spot from the guy in Maryland that gave me a shot, and I just excelled. So yeah.
So you found yourself back in Miami. How did you end up building what you have now?
That's a great question. So I'm back in Miami. I started working for this guy that was he was huge in New York, massive mortgage guy.
Okay.
And he was down here and he was hustling, but the guy was barred from the industry because he had done some crazy mortgage fraud shit back in like 2001. So he is still getting all this business because of his referrals. Because once you build a referral base and you have all these relationships and friends with realtors and agents and insurance companies and you're still getting all the business. They still know you as that guy. And so this guy's getting all the business, but he can't write any of it. So he's getting licensed people like me to write the deals, and then he's compensating us and then keeping the split. Right. So I didn't know any of this walking into this scenario. I didn't find out until later.
So how did he deliver it to you? Like, how did he make it?
No, he didn't. I found out because I actually did research and due diligence afterwards to find out. But yeah, so essentially what happened is I'm watching this guy, seeing how he creates relationships, how he builds rapport with these agents. Like, he just walked around with such confidence. He was like, I am the fucking king of this game and nobody could beat me. And he's like, I charge max rate, max fees, max this, max that. And he was like, this is what my worth is. And I was like, wow, I've never heard somebody speak like that. And that was really cool for me because I was like, growing up, I had always been super insecure and timid. And I was always like getting picked on and getting my ass kicked. So for me, seeing that, I was like, wow, like I want that, And it's interesting because like I started doing pretty well. I was learning from this guy, learning the ropes, and then COVID happens. And this guy, 90% of his business was non-QM, which is all like the shady deals, basically, like anything that's not conventional, which is mainly what I do now. During COVID, we lost it all. Nobody was funding non-QM. So the whole business disappeared. He lets everyone go, including myself. And I'm sitting here without a job, like going back to drinking, going back to just
because you're like, fuck, I dealt with all this bullshit. I came back thinking everything was figured out, and now it goes back to the shit again.
Yeah.
And you're like, why, bro?
I have no fucking job. Are you kidding me? I'm like, I should have just stayed in Maryland and kept busting my ass. I'd have another couple $100,000 in the bank. And so, yeah, man. So I'm sitting here in my apartment. And so it's crazy because that specific apartment has a little bit of sentimental meaning to me, because when I got that apartment, I actually hated it. I did not like that apartment whatsoever. But when I walked in with my agent and I look over the balcony, I looked down and I saw the bench that I had been crying on the day before I left. It was right there in Brickell. So that's why I got that apartment, because I would always look over and I'd be like, I was here 7 months ago. I was here 8 months ago.
Powerful as fuck.
So I look over and I'm like, dude, fuck that. Like, I'm not going to be stopped. Like, I'm going to find a solution to this. And so I get a call from this guy. He's at a mortgage company. He was a friend of mine from a previous job, and he's crushing it. He was like, dude, you have a lot of followers on social media. Like, you post a lot of cool stuff. And he was like, what are you selling? And I'm like, I'm not selling shit. This is just my life. And he was just like, but why are you not selling anything? And I was just like, what the hell am I going to sell? He was like, you do fucking mortgages, bro. Like, why are you not using your skill set?
You weren't using it before. So
nobody even knew that I did mortgages this whole time.
How did you build the following? Just over the course of many years?
Yeah, just over the years, I was posting lifestyle content, and I was just going to networking events, and I would speak at networking events sometimes. I would get asked to speak, and I just made friends with people, and it was all organic. I was just building a following. I mean, it was just happening. And
I only made my Instagram when I started real estate. Bro, I was like never on Instagram. I was one of those. Yeah, I was one of those people.
It was like my life. It was like it was like an event for me. I was posting stories all the time and everything.
Oh yeah, so only up until like the last year and a half was I really active, and I still don't post much. It's just kind of, it's not that I'm uncomfortable with it. I just don't get so much enjoyment on like constantly posting.
I feel that.
It's more like the podcast I love. So once we're doing the podcast, posting the reels. Oh yeah, that I love. But just like if I'm going on vacations and I'm not knocking you and anyone who does it. It's just, I don't know. It doesn't really like. It's not, I don't know, it's not really me, I guess. But if I go to some waterfall, of course the picture looks dope, but I'm just kind of there and I'm like, whatever. Because I could take 20 pictures of different places, and then in my brain I'm like, all right, well, this is overwhelming. Because then do I post it once a week, twice a week, 4 times a day, 8 times a day? And I'm just like, fuck the whole thing. That's
funny, man. Well, I go through slumps where I don't post anything. Like, I have literally not been on Instagram. I opened Instagram today to answer your DM.
Okay.
That's literally all I did. And to see just now when we were here, to see, because you said that you tagged me in something, but I've been so busy this week that I haven't had an opportunity. So I actually have a friend, she knows me very well, and she was like, I know that you must be swamped. And I was like, why? Because she's like, you haven't logged into Instagram, like we haven't seen you. Like, I guess in your messages it tells you when they were last active. It's like friggin' 4 days ago. So she was just like, so I go through these periods where I don't post anything, but then when I do, I come out and I bang, because I think what the deal is I really enjoy like sharing my experience with people. So if I'm in New York and I'm having a great time, like I want other people to be along for the ride. So it's just natural for me to include them in this journey, and I do it through stories. And I just recently realized that I could take my stories and I could edit them into reels. And it's like, because I was like, how the fuck do I make a reel?
Oh, wait, I saw you did that with Steve at that huge house.
Yeah.
How do you do that? Because you even did it with the music, like the
clips.
Yeah, the clips changed with the sound, like how the music. And I was like, how the hell? I'm so
dude,
bad at this shit.
You know, that's the first one that I've. No, actually, that's not true. It's the second.
You got to
video.
teach me how to do
it's
that.
The second one I've ever done.
It floats so well. I don't know. You did that all on your own, huh?
Yeah. That was the second video I've ever done. The first one was the one in New York.
But how do you do it where this, like if the beat changes, then the edit changes? Like how do you?
So I downloaded this app. So I actually am learning how to video edit now, because I found so much enjoyment in making these 2 reels. I was like, wow, I fucking love this. Like I could do this all day.
Watch, are you going to become some video editor?
Right? And so if I do, we're going to replay this.
For sure.
So yeah, I made these 2 videos and I was like, this is sick, bro. I really like this, because what I did was I listen to music all the time when I'm at the gym, when I'm in my car. Like I'm the guy that's got the windows down. I'm blasting my music if I'm not on the phone, and I'm just dancing, doing my thing in the car while I'm driving. So that's me.
Me too. I love that shit.
I love it. And so there's certain songs where I'm just like, I visualize in my head. I'm like, damn, I could make like a fire video to this, or I would love to be in a video to this. And I visualize, and then I'm really disappointed when I see the music video to it, because I'm like, my idea was so much better. And so
That's so good. I actually had today when I was in the car, I heard this. You know that remix on TikTok or on Instagram? It's Bad and Bougie with Butterfly. You know, like
no, I haven't heard that.
hold on,
Yeah, play that.
hold on. It's so good. It's they're always playing it, and I heard it here. 1 second.
Oh, I have heard this. Oh, this is hard. I have heard this.
So good,
Dude, I can make something.
So what I want to do with that,
Yeah, what's your idea?
what I want to do with that is, when I have a good, let's say for quarter one or quarter two, I have a bunch of closings.
Yeah.
I want to do a cool edit that shows not just a picture of the house, but if they're like nice houses or nice condos, it shows like quick, ins and outs of like the way how LPG, like Lifestyle Production, they have those sick edits of like you see the kitchen counter moving and then it shows the jacuzzi and the zooming in and zooming out of the boom boom boom, like so that kind of shit, and it shows like 17 deals sold and closed, blah blah blah, like that kind of stuff. But just the quick paced,
Yeah, of course.
banger video with the thing. Like, and I was in my car today and I was driving back from Boca and I was like,
Dude, you got to write it down.
100%.
There's so much magic in writing things down. So yeah, write it down, bro. So what I did first was I downloaded this app. I was like, what's a good video editing app where I can add a song? Because I looked through a bunch of apps and I couldn't add my own music. I'm like, it's bullshit. I don't want to use this free music because it's all terrible. So
That's so true.
So I'm like, I found this one app. It was called Splice. And then I was like, oh, I'll buy the song. It's like $1.29 or whatever. Bought the song, clipped the song how I wanted it, threw it in there. And then every single video from my story that I did with Steven, I added it in there, and then I just clipped little parts and I just cut it to every single beat.
It sounded, I loved it, by the way.
Yeah,
I
it was
really
fun.
liked it. It was really
fun.
good. It was great quality. And I was like, I need to know how to do those.
Yeah, it was fun, man. And it was just something, dude, I woke up, I think I posted it Monday. I woke up Monday morning and I was just like, I'm gonna make a reel out of this. I was like, I don't know why, I just feel like it. So I downloaded the app and did the whole thing. And then
How long did it take you?
I think it took me like 2 hours.
Oh, so it took you time.
It took me some time.
How the hell did you have all this time?
But because I go to the gym on Monday, I went to the gym at 5 a.m. with my trainer.
Okay.
So I woke up early. I went to the gym. It was like 6. I had a little food, and then I was like, my day is gonna get really crazy around 9 o'clock. So I was like, I'm just gonna edit this little video. And before I knew it, the time went by like that, and I'm like, 2 hours just went by. So I was like really into it.
I really want to just see how you do it, bro, because it's really cool.
Yeah, it was fun.
But
It was fun.
yeah, I want to go back to how you went from. So I have you now in my head. You get this condo.
Yeah.
You're looking down at the bench. You said, "Fuck it, I'm not doing this anymore."
Yeah. So my boy was like, I'll teach you how to do mortgages. He was like, the other guy taught you how to sell, but he didn't teach you how to do loans.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, all right, cool. So he brought me on his team, and dude, I just started posting. Every time I would get a closing, I would post the closing. I would tag the agent. I would post stories. I was never really big on posts. I've always been a stories guy because like when I first got into social media, it was Snapchat. So I was so used to the story game. That was like my strong suit. And still, even to this day, I get way more views on my stories than I do on anything else. I mean, my average story views, which, I mean, I'm sure other people have a lot more, but it's like 3K. So it's like, but my average.
You have like 30,000 subscribers. I get a nice amount. Like I have 640 something follow. Like I have a small channel, following, but a lot of the time I'll get like 140, sometimes 160 people viewing my stories.
Yeah, that's great.
And I get a lot of people that tell me like, yo, I love your stories. Cause I throw some comedy, I throw some funny shit in there, but I don't want it to be, you know how you'll have people with literally 30 fucking reels where they're just spending all their day looking at different reels. Because then it just takes my page and makes it a joke.
Yeah.
So I'll throw like a couple of funny things that I find very funny just to keep people engaged and show them what I think is funny. Because I want people to familiarize themselves with my kind of humor.
Yeah.
So I throw some random things in there that kill me.
That's awesome,
maybe
man.
one a day or one every few days and yada yada. But I try to keep it real estate and podcast related mainly. But I'm always usually posting something. Like very rarely is there a day where I don't have some kind of story.
That's awesome.
Yeah, or a few of them.
I sometimes I get so busy I have to take it. Like I don't have the time. Like today, this whole week has been one of those weeks where I just didn't have the time. But on the weekend, I'll pop off because my phone stops ringing, thank God, and I get an opportunity to work on the podcast or work on something. Now it's going to be video editing because I actually realize I like it. So
that's awesome. Yeah, but I mean, that's going to be time consuming. You sure you want to like go down that rabbit hole?
Well, I think it's just going to be for fun, like how I did that one.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, it's just
As long
fun.
as I guess you have the time.
It's a nice little creative outlet. Like if I'm already out at a house because I have to be there for an open house or something, I'll take some videos and I'll slap it together on the weekend and post it.
When do you have to go to an open house?
I don't really do open houses anymore. I used to when I first got in the business because I was trying to like build my business, but I don't really do that anymore unless a realtor says, hey, I have an open house, can you support me? I'm like, absolutely, I got you. I'll show up for sure. But what I do go to is brokers opens. So if someone's got it like at Steve's, he invited me to that $23 million house for Hassan Whiteside. And when I got there, I'm like, I met like 6 agents, so, and one of those agents, we met for lunch and we're potentially going to be working together. So it's like, it's cool. I go to brokers opens because that's where I get a lot of my agent business. For sure. Yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, so when I'm there, I'll clip a couple of things and make it into something. But yeah, man, it's part of my life. It's part of my lifestyle. My Instagram recently got deactivated. Why? I was gone for 10 weeks off of Instagram. And it was a super humbling time for me.
Why did it get deleted? You deleted it?
No, deactivated. It got deactivated. So somebody had gotten, I don't know who, somebody had hired a company or hired somebody. I hired a cybersecurity guy to figure out how to get my account back, which he ended up doing. It just took him about 2.5 months. Somebody had hired someone at 3:00 in the morning. There was over 2,000 bot accounts that all reported my page. So they deactivated me for breaking community guidelines because they got so many reports. So they thought that I posted some crazy shit.
Why would these bots do this? What do they
because it was an attack. Somebody wanted to get my page down. So somebody somehow.
Do you think it's some asshole maybe that's in competition with you that's trying to literally tear you down?
I think it was an ex. I think it was an ex. Yeah. I think it was an ex.
Do you really think that?
I swear I think it was. I can't speculate.
Well, now we're going down a whole nother rabbit hole.
I'm pretty sure.
What did you do to this chick?
I didn't do it. We can't go there.
Is Amber Heard's cousin. Fucking Amber Heard's cousin.
Nah, man. But yeah, so that's what. But dude, so yeah, I was down, and during that time period, I was like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, I post everything on Instagram. And I'm like, now that I don't have that outlet.
Well, at least you had the bench downstairs.
Yeah, right?
Okay.
No.
Okay.
So, no, but it was cool, man. So I'm back on the gram. I'm using it in a different capacity. Like, I don't spend time on it anymore. It's more so for me to post. I'm a producer, not a consumer on that platform.
Right.
And so, yeah, anyways, this guy, he was like, all you do is post content. You should tailor it to mortgages. Let's get business come in and I'll teach you how to close it. And it was great. And it was working out. My business partner from the previous venture, he calls me and he's like, bro, because we talk all the time. We always have. And I'm like venting to him. I'm like, dude, these loans are shit. Like, I hate doing them. I hate the paperwork. I hate calculating income. I hate doing all this stuff. And I was like, but I'm so good at getting business. Like, I'm really good at getting business. But I just hate this nonsense, the paper pushing.
Also, bro, I hate doing paperwork.
Yeah,
I can't stand it,
dude. So he said, look, I love all that shit, and I can't get business. So he was like, I built a whole platform where you're bringing in business, and I'm taking care of everything else, and we split the commission. And I was like, that's a fucking no-brainer.
So is that what you do now?
That's what we do now. So Millennium Mortgage was built around loan officers just going and getting the business.
That makes so much sense. So you're the recruiter, meaning you make the connections, you bring in the clients.
Yep. And I do manage the client and throughout the whole process. I walk their hand through, but I don't have to take care of all the minute details. I have someone that collects the docs. I have someone who makes sure they're all there. I have someone who calculates the income, pre-approves the client, and then I send the pre-approval out to the realtor and the client, which happens in like a couple hours.
You're the face of the business. You're not on the back end. You're on the front end.
Yeah.
That's totally how I am, by the way. I have the same mentality. I don't like being behind a desk doing all the computer work. I'm doing that now because I'm earlier on.
Yeah.
But like once I have all the assistants out and about,
bro, dude,
I don't want my name on the listing. I don't want my number on my sign. I don't want any of that, bro. Call this other person.
Let them do it.
Call them.
I do like having the initial conversations.
The client. Listen, I'm not saying the clients I want to have a relationship with me. The other agents, I'm not saying I don't want to have relationships with people. I'm not saying I want to literally not talk to any human in the world, but I'm saying that there are certain things when I have a listing on the MLS.
Yeah.
I don't want to be bothered by 70 realtors who didn't read the remarks.
Oh.
Like, I want someone else to handle all those calls, and once
They're
there are
qualified.
people who are actually a fit for the property and that read the remarks and everything makes sense, come and give me a ring. No problem. Let's talk. With my clients, no, I'm not going to just shove my clients and go talk to other people. I want my clients to be able to talk to me.
Yeah, you need a doorkeeper.
Gatekeeper, doorkeeper, 100%.
Yeah, you need a gatekeeper,
Totally.
a fronter.
It's so important, bro.
Yeah.
So I like to be the face of it. This is why I do this.
Yeah, no, it's amazing, man. I love this too. So,
Thank you, man.
yeah, and you've done a great job, man. The setup is sick.
Appreciate you, bro. There's big plans in the works. This is going to be a very long-term project. I have really big plans for it. And I've met some incredible people along the way, you included. I'm very stoked for specifically the Lifestyle Production Group CEO Mike Ruiz. Shout out to you, man. Hope you're checking this out. So he gave me some good tips on it because his videos, I don't know if you've ever seen his videos. His videos are fucking unbelievable.
Are they?
Unbelievable.
Yeah?
Yeah,
I'll check it out.
But yeah, check it out after because they're like a good minute or so.
What's the name?
It's called LPG. If it doesn't come up, it's Lifestyle Production Group, and they have a huge YouTube channel, like over 200,000 subs.
Nice. Oh, cool.
Yeah. So he gave me some tips, and when he comes, hopefully he's going to bring some of his equipment. So this way, it's going to be like
hardcore. That's great, bro.
So I'm just having people like that, having networking with people like that, whatever I can bring value to him, I'll do, because he wants to start a podcast. So although I'm not huge by any means, I've been doing this for quite a while now, for going on 2 years. So I've learned things along the way. And I've had to figure out how to build it on a low budget, and that's something important because you really have to learn the nitty gritty. Now that I've learned that, it's kind of like getting a used car as your first car. Right? It really is. You learn how to change the battery. You learn how to put the coolant in. You learn how to change a tire. When you get a fancy Audi as your first car that your dad gave you as a lease to, you know what I mean? Like for your graduation, all you do is bring the car into the shop. You never learn what to do if your car breaks down. Shit happens. So it's similar to this where, the benefit is, of course, I would have loved to have some fancy studio right out of the gate. Wouldn't have turned that down. But because that wasn't exactly my option, it's good to be able to start and little by little think outside the box and figure out how to perfect things more.
Well, dude, that's the name of the game with entrepreneurialism is like the mind of the entrepreneur is starting from nothing and like appreciating it that much more when you get it. Because now when you get a studio, you're not going to let people come in and like wreck your shit. You're going to be like, dude, fuck you. I used to be in my apartment with a couple of lights and,
damn right, dude.
These, whatever, right?
You're damn right.
Yeah, get the hell out of here.
You're damn right. And even now, man, like when I first started this, I was using $30 mics, the lighting, these like $30, I still have the lights, a little umbrella. Even a few episodes ago, I was using those lights. A little crappy plastic umbrella with like a light bulb on it. Like totally, I had, and then I got these mics. These LED lights are like 400, but they're solid. Obviously they're you can always upgrade the equipment, which we'll do. But yeah, man, I mean, it's an
investment of time and resources.
It's a beautiful thing to be in an entrepreneurial state of mind where you tweak little by little, you turn the knob as you go, and you look back over the course of time and you're like, wow, like I came so far. It's a beautiful thing. But in the moment when you're in the zone, it's like with working out. It's a similar thing. You look back years ago and you were this skinny little turd, or you were this fat motherfucker.
Crazy. I was with my trainer. So I have a trainer because I used to compete in CrossFit. I got 5 herniated discs. So I wasn't unable to work out for 2 years. I was in so much pain and I was drinking like a fish and during that time because I couldn't even sleep. Like I couldn't go out. I could barely walk. So I was drinking myself to sleep every night. And I met this guy.
You sound like a lot of fun when you're drunk. I'm not
crazy.
much of a party guy nowadays, but I do want to have a couple of drinks with you at some point.
For sure, man. Dude, I don't really drink anymore because I went 2 years sober.
Oh wow! So you're totally off.
No, now if I'll drink, that was I started drinking again a couple months ago.
I don't get smashed either. I never get smashed.
I get sick now. Like physically, mentally, I'm not there. I get brain fog the next day. I'm sick.
Oh, my hangovers suck nowadays. When I was younger, I used to get hungover, and it sucked. But I could get a couple of hours. Like I was right now, bro. They wreck me.
Yeah, wrecked.
Like what I need to do is, I need to have Advil before I pass out. A cold Gatorade in my fridge, so when I get up, like I'll have water. I'll plan this, but if I drink very little. I have a couple of drinks, yada yada. I don't really go out much on weekends. Most times I don't go out at all.
Yeah.
And
You got a
if I
Pedialyte in the fridge.
Yeah, no, I actually never did the Pedialyte.
Oh,
thing.
No?
Never.
Oh, I've done the
So
Pedialyte plenty
is
of
it
times.
good? It's good. It's
No, it
helpful?
tastes terrible. It tastes like medicine.
But does it help you?
Oh, for sure.
It works well?
Yeah.
So does it have more electrolytes than Gatorade?
It has a lot. Yeah. And I think it has less sugar.
I know a cold Gatorade hits the spot. So I'll put like some water in one of these flasks. Like I have a cup there that keeps the water cold. I'll put it by my bed before I go out, so it's there. And when I wake up and I reach down, I'm like, oh yes, and you reach down, you're hoping there's something there,
Sweet relief,
and you grab onto the hard plastic and you pick it up and there's water and you're like, thank the Lord, I don't have to get out of my bed and walk those 3 milliseconds to the fridge or whatever. You grab the water, you chug the whole thing, and then that there's a Gatorade in the fridge.
You're like, thank you, Rafi from the past.
Yes,
Dude, sometimes I'll make sacrifices short term, and I'm like, thank you, Drew from the past.
Isn't it amazing when you when you know you have to bring something small with you somewhere? Let's say an SD card.
Yeah.
I got to bring that somewhere with me, and I know that if I don't pack it now, I may forget it.
Oh, for sure.
And then it's the next day, and I'm like, oh, you have my SD card, and then I'm like, oh, I think I put it in my bag, but did I? And then you open your bag and it's there, and you're like, fucking smart ass motherfucker. You're like, I'm so glad,
That's
but
awesome.
you learn that shit from years of experience of like constantly forgetting the same stupid thing.
And then you get somewhere and you don't have it and you're fucked.
Yeah. And then eventually you put your foot down and I'm like, I'm not going to be stupid anymore. I'm going to plan ahead, put it in wherever it needs to be. So I'm going to make sure it's there. And then you start to realize that. And then over the course of time, I actually love this. It's like a small like side thing where I love having like little gadgets.
Is that a cat?
Yeah, it's my cat. That's another like side story. I took her from New York because my grandmother has dementia.
Oh, wow. I'm sorry.
Yeah, maybe she's just sad that the door's closed. But
Oh.
Are you an animal person or not really?
I like cats. Cats are cool. My business partner, we have a podcast on my business partner. We do it in his apartment. This cat is quiet as a mouse.
Yeah.
Doesn't do anything.
Okay.
Super silent. The minute we hit record, it's causing fucking mayhem. Bro, it's scratching everything. It's losing its mind. It's meowing, going crazy.
Oh, so she doesn't scratch shit. She's very well behaved. She's an old lady.
It will not do it unless we hit record.
Why?
When we hit record, it goes crazy. It's like it knows. It knows.
That's so
and it's not
weird.
just once. It's every time. It's crazy. But yeah, man. So
Yeah, so the drinks and whatever.
drinks,
But yeah, no, but what I was quickly saying was like planning. So when you just need, you get in your car, you have tissues, you have like a little thing of cologne in your car, you have like the gadgets you need, you have your bottle of water, you have your granola bar. Over the course of a day, you become used to having certain things in place, right?
Yeah.
You wake up, you got your gym clothes, then you have your protein shake, and you're this, and you're this, and you're that. When you're younger, everything's all out of whack. As you get older, hopefully, you don't continue to repeat the same stupid shit. You start to build like, okay, I'm going to leave my protein shake near my protein powder because I can wait. It's all there. You start to situate things in your life, whether they're tangible or intangible objects, that you can just. It makes every hour just a lot smoother.
Yeah,
you get me. And you put things in certain places where your brain is gonna. Okay, I put that there, perfect. Let me put it there. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so that's something I like to focus on, or just having certain objects that make things more efficient. So things like that are very important. I think especially for entrepreneurs where your mind is always, as much as we can focus, everything is always out of whack because you're always trying to create and come up with new ideas. So it's so important that you organize as much as you
I'm
can.
terrible. I'll be honest. Organization is one of my worst qualities. I'm terrible at it.
I'm not the best at it either.
Yeah,
I've gotten better.
That's why I just hired another assistant, and the first thing I'm like, how organized are you on a scale of 1 to 10? And he's like, 10. I can do it. And I was just like, all right, I need this. Like it's worth whatever I have to pay to get my shit together.
I love this caveat because hold on, I used to have this mentality of trying to save everything. And now I switched into going on the offense. And it's not to say that you shouldn't save. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that focus your mind more on making so you don't have to focus on pinching every penny. Bro. It's not to say that you should you get me. You know what I mean? So now that I've switched that mentality, and it's going from like a lower class or lower middle class mentality to a wealthy mentality.
Rich dad, poor dad.
it's delegating, and I didn't want to do that for so long. And now when I got into real estate, I really pushed myself to be like, listen, I have to have a dialer for my calls. I can't be manually calling. I got to have a CRM. I have to have things scheduled. I need an assistant for paperwork. I have a transaction coordinator for my podcast. I have an editor. I don't want to pay any of this. I don't want to spend the money.
No, of course.
But at the end of the day, in order for me to actually build, in order for me to scale, I have to do it. Like, you have to buy your time back. You have to.
No, 100%.
And it's hard to do that, especially when you're not pulling in fucking tons of cash. It's hard because like you make some money and you got to throw it right back in. But in the long run, the more you start to build these systems and processes and build that organization where everything is organized and has a plan, you are putting yourself in a position to build and scale. And it's so important. I wish I understood that earlier.
I know, man. And I was so resistant to getting my assistant because I was just like, I don't want to spend this money. It's bullshit. I don't want to do it.
Yeah, it sucks.
You know, and then it's like, and then they all go through a training phase, and it's during that training phase that you're just like, I'm gonna fucking fire this guy every day, or the girl, or I'm just like, I gotta get rid of her because it's like she doesn't know what to do. But then I'm like, I spoke to one of my mentors, and he was like, nobody knows what the hell they're doing. You have to train them.
Right.
That's the reason that they're like, they have to go through a trial period where they're learning, like, and then you give them the role. You know, but they have to learn the system. Like, and he was like, when you went to the bank, he was like, what'd you do for the first like 8 weeks? And I'm like, yeah, you're right. I sat there and just fucking clicked through screens and shit, you know? So it was like, it's true. You know, people got to come in and they have to learn. So there's a process to it. You know, one of the things with, I was super resistant to spending money as well, because I always looked at it as I'm spending, but it's really, I'm investing. Like, you invested in this equipment.
Totally.
You invest in your editor. You invest in your, you know, the people who delegate tasks. I was at home the other day, crazy day. It was every Thursday, my cleaning lady comes. And so
that's another great investment, by the way. It's something I don't do yet, but that's no, I don't.
Every
bro, it's like my place is never going to be as clean as a cleaning lady will have.
It's so refreshing.
There's no question. Like I try to keep my place. My place isn't messy, but like it can definitely use like good mopping more than I do it. For sure. And like when you know once a week you got that done, I have to do that. It's so important.
You know what happens is if I don't do it, I know myself because I'm disorganized. I come home, I throw shit everywhere, it piles up, and then I have to spend a couple hours doing laundry and bullshit and whatever on the weekend. And so I was working and my cleaning lady was running around and I was on the phone, and the person that I was on the phone with was like, what is all that noise? And I'm like, sorry, my cleaning lady's here. She's doing her thing. And he was just like, why the hell would you pay somebody to clean your apartment when you could do that on the weekend? And it was just like the Rich Dad Poor Dad book. And I'm like,
who is saying this to you?
This is a friend of mine.
What does your friend do?
He's a realtor. Right? And
you know what's so funny?
All of my friends are agents.
What's so funny? Well, that makes sense. What's so funny is I would say that a couple of years ago, not even a couple of years ago, a year ago, I would have said the same thing.
Yeah.
It's the weekend anyway. You're chilling, but it's like you bust your ass all week, and now you're gonna take 4 hours out of your even if it's 2 hours, you're gonna take 2 hours out of your weekend. Even if you take off once a week, you know, I take off Saturday, so you take off. You have that one day. You're going to spend 2 hours out of that day when you can give somebody $100 or even $200. People pay less, whatever it is. If it's $200 and you know the place is spotless.
Well, this was what I told him. I agree with that 100%. But also,
and I'm not doing it, by the way, but I completely on board with it. I agree with it. Yeah.
So, and I think you will after.
No, I'm totally
after my answer to this guy. I said, it's a Saturday in the morning. I said, my cleaning lady was here on Thursday. I had some shit went, you know, whatever. It was messy. I broke some shit and I needed her back here on Saturday. So she came in here. She's cleaning this. And I said, so that means I paid her double this week. And he's like, it's a fucking waste of money, right? And I said, what have we been doing for the past hour on the phone? And he was just like, well, you pre-approved my client. You know, you sent out a pre-approval in an hour and like they're out. We're going to start shopping for a place. And so I'm like, I would not have been able to do any of this with you if I had been fucking cleaning my place. So in the 2 hours or 4 hours or however long she's here, like tending to this mess, if I had done that realistically, 4 hours for her would have taken me like 8, right?
Right.
So it's like she knows what the fuck she's doing.
And you wouldn't
in
have
8
done as good
hours,
of a
bro,
job.
I could make fucking 10 grand. One deal.
Yeah, and you wouldn't have
20.
done as good of a
No.
job if you would have done it at all.
So I pay her $20 or $200, and then the trade off is I make $10K. Like, bro, that's a fucking no brainer.
Totally.
And I think, and so when I told him that, he was just like, dude, he actually opened me up because he was like, what other areas in your life could you have that same impact? I'm like, damn. So it got me thinking, like, what other areas of my life?
Shopping, haircut. Like, dude, honestly, like, because I told you I need to be making more money. So I have a barber now. Shout out to you, Manny. Love the guy. Gives such good cuts. I love the place. Tonsorial Barbershop. Whoever's looking for a great place to get your cuts. If you are in the Aventura area, Sunny Isles, Hallandale, North Miami Beach, if you're in this vicinity, even if you aren't, if you're cool with driving a little bit, great spot in Aventura. It's called Tonsorial Barbershop. It's a great boutique spot. Everyone's dressed nicely. Great music. There's drinks. It's a real gentleman's kind of
drinks too.
Yeah, it's a real gentleman's kind of barbershop. And I go to one of the guys, Manny. There, he gives me a fresh cut, and it's not a $15 cut. You know, he definitely, you know, I don't know if he wants to know. Well, he charges me like $40. I give him a nice tip, and that's not crazy. I mean, you have people charging a lot more.
Yeah.
But eventually, bro, I wanna have him come to me, like have my own little.
Well, how much time do you spend in the car to go there?
Oh, I mean, it's super close, literally
okay.
down the block. So it's not a big deal. I don't know if I kind of like the vibe also of going to the barbershop. So I don't know if I do it, but I would like to have it where if I'm kind of short on time, he could come to me.
Yeah.
And obviously, I'd give him more money for making the trip.
For sure.
But like doing that, man, it's such a game changer. There was a period for a while where I was only getting very short haircuts, so I would literally like shave my whole head, and that's easy. But if I want to have a nice style, if I try to do it myself, I'm gonna fuck up the haircut, and
That's
it's
so
time. I'm
funny.
gonna sit there just jerking off trying to like properly cut my hair when I have a guy who knows what he's doing.
It's so funny. I was in the car today. I was coming back down to Brickell from a appointment at Weston, and I'm on the phone with one of my account executives at the bank, one of the banks I lend with. He's telling me, dude, when did you know it was time to shave your head? And like, what benefit has it had? And I'm like, well, my confidence shot up because my shit was like balding, you know? So now that it's gone, like I rock it and it's great. I would even if I could grow hair back, I would not do it.
Really?
I don't want it. I just feel
'cause
more
how
confident.
easy it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I was just like, how much time do you waste going to your barber? Because I used to only go to one barber. He was also in Aventura. His name was Kevin, Cuts by Kev.
Okay.
He was right here. And I used to drive from Brickell to Aventura to get my fucking haircut. Because he was the only one that could keep like what little I had on the top looking fine while he like shaped up the sides, right? I was trying desperately to hang on to this shit. And so I only trusted this one guy. But I'm like, bro, it takes me 2.5 fucking hours to do this trip.
It's insane.
So I'm
dude.
like, now, dude, I hop out the shower, 2 minutes, and it's done. And I was like, I saved so much time.
Yeah, no, for you, if you're ready to have the bald look, then you don't need a barber. You just do it yourself. Yeah, that's easy.
Yeah, man. So, dude, everything right now for me has been, I'm so busy right now. It's how can I utilize other people to do things that I don't have the time to do because my time is focused on the business.
What do you do for shopping? You shop or you have someone who does? You do Instacart?
Dude, I've
or
been
something?
really, really bad lately. I've been bad. I've been spending like, I don't know, $200 a day on Uber Eats every day. Because I just order Uber Eats.
I got to tell you about a meal plan, bro. It's
Yeah?
called Meal Pro.
Dude, I've had some bad experiences with meal plans.
Yeah, what do you have? Because a lot of the meal plans that I've ordered from before are these bitch portions, and they're all like keto, which is cute in theory, but like keto
I don't
just
know. Sometimes it just doesn't taste right. Like something just tastes
you're
weird.
not unless you're balling out on a private chef who's making you meals every day, which is honestly the goal, which would be amazing, or just have a wonderful woman who would cook for me. I'm not a great cook and I don't enjoy cooking, so I don't even bother because I know I'm not going to be consistent. I want to only be able to do shit I know I'm going to be consistent with, because otherwise it's just, and I am a consistent person with the things I can be consistent with.
For sure.
The gym, consistent. Podcast, consistent. Real estate, consistent. Right? But cooking, no, I'm not going to be consistent. So I almost always have the meal prep because it's healthy, it's high in protein, it's ready and prepared.
And
it's
you
in
know
my
what you're
fridge. I know what I'm getting. It's done. My meals are good. I don't have to travel and drive somewhere. On occasion, if I'm not in the mood for the food that's in the meal prep, I can grab Chipotle or whatever else I'm in the mood of. But I know like this is a good option. So I'll show you the company. If you don't like it, you know, you could always try.
I don't know, man. I'm always willing to try anything, but dude, the thing is, like, I'm the opposite. I absolutely love to cook, and I can tell you I'm a badass cook. Like,
okay, so then it's different.
It's very relaxing for me. It's kind of like meditating. I just haven't had the time because I'm so fucking busy.
So that's
You know what I'm saying?
If you don't have the time,
but
for
I'm
it,
like, so for me, it's like I know how to cook good food, and my shit is bomb as fuck. So when I eat this meal prep and it tastes like shit, it's super discouraging. I'm like, I just wasted my fucking money on this. You know, today I did have a meal prep, and the first one I loved, and then the second one I just wasn't a fan, and I didn't even finish it. And I was just like, I ended up buying Uber Eats anyways. So I'm like, it's because I was on the road, and I'm like, I'll order Uber Eats to my destination so it's there by the time I get there, and I can scarf it down real quick before my meeting.
It is clutch, man, because even now when I was heading home, I knew I had to set the podcast up and stuff, and so I ordered Uber Eats 40 minutes before, and it got here right when I got home.
Yeah.
So that's what's clutch about
Dude,
it. It's
amazing.
Like, it shows up when you get home.
Yeah.
I used to think Uber Eats was a huge waste of money, and it can be, but then again, it's all like, it's delegation. Like when instead of having to go and drive in traffic on Biscayne like an asshole, I could just get someone else to drive and bring the food to me.
Dude, and getting off here in Ives-Dairy is a fucking nightmare,
my God,
dude.
Dude, it's the worst.
No matter what time you get off, it's a disaster.
They're building the train, though. They're building that train, which is going to be key.
Yeah?
Yeah, what happened, if you look, so I live here, so I noticed it, on Biscayne. How do I explain? Like, just throughout the entire Aventura going to North Miami Beach, there were these advertisements, bunch of palm trees on the right hand side, and you had a bunch of buildings. They knocked down everything. They removed the trees, they removed the ads.
Wow.
And they're building the train, and the train hopefully I think is going to go to Brickell and all that.
No, dude, that's a game changer.
So, dude, honestly, if I want to head out, like if I want to go meet you or meet anyone down there and go for a drink on
the train,
weekend,
forget about it.
I'm not going in an Uber. If I can grab a train,
freaking way.
The train's going to get there in a third of the time, even faster. It's going to be cheap, much cheaper. It's a no-brainer, bro.
It's a no-brainer.
And the thing that's fun about the train, it reminds me of New York. I could pregame on the train with a couple of buddies. That's what I used to do.
Awesome.
That's what awesome. I missed that. I would bring a coffee cup or just a small bottle of whatever, and we all like pound booze on the way to the city, on the way to Manhattan. By the time we get off the train, we're already lit.
Dude, I lived with a buddy of mine in the Bronx for a little while, and we used to do the same thing. We take the 5 downtown.
Yeah, and between you and I, like I'm not even gonna hide this because it was so common. We all used to do this. This is such a pastime. The subway cars in Manhattan, there are those doors where you can go from car to car. On occasion, like if we were drunk and we had to pee and we had like a good 20-minute ride, I would and people were like all minding their own business. It's New York. Nothing's crazy in New York.
Of course.
We would just open the door and I would like smoke. I smoked cigarettes at the time. So we would like smoke cigarettes, like holding onto the thing.
Oh my God.
And then we would just, and sometimes I would pee off the side. Like we would do that with our buddies.
That's crazy.
You know, like that's just New York, man. It's a crazy place.
I know, man. But
Yeah,
that's awesome,
wild.
man. Yeah, I think the delegating thing is huge right now for me, and thank God I have the means financially to be able to do it. Like it's really not in the grand scheme of things. It doesn't make an impact.
I have a funny question though.
Mm-hmm.
When you have kids, I imagine you do plan on having family kids. Do you think you're still gonna have a cleaning lady when you're raising your kids, or are you gonna want to have them doing certain things?
I don't know. It's a good question.
Because that's what I thought of.
When they're younger, for sure.
Yeah, because I want my kids to clean their room. Like I want my kids to make their bed, clean their stuff. I think it's just very important. Like if that's negative. That's the negative to delegating everything is when you raise your kids in that environment, they're not used to lifting a finger.
That's true.
They don't know how to cut potatoes. They don't know how to help
Dude, that's like a lot of these kids, the rich kids that are just spoiled and they've got the trust funds.
So when they get thrown out into the world,
they don't know what the fuck to do.
Like I even had some of these definitely trust fund kids who, and it was mostly girls who came into my office in Aventura and Keller Williams and they tried it out for a bit. After like a month or two, they bounced. Like I just never saw them anymore. And they would roll up, like one girl rolled up in a G-Wagon, and this is not, like she didn't pay for this G-Wagon, that's for sure. And it's like if you have a G-Wagon, you already have a $100K car and your parents have it all, there's no real desire to go and bang out phone calls and generate leads. Like you could just hop into your G-Wagon and go grab Starbucks. Like why stress yourself out? So when you don't have that push, that's something pushing you, it's very difficult. And that brings stress because when you don't have that fight every day,
it's hard.
it's so ironic. It's such a catch-22 because I find that to be much harder. Because the beauty of going through all that struggle that you gave that amazing story of your struggle. It's such a, now where you are, you get to look back and appreciate all that struggle. They don't have that.
No.
That's the funny part about like becoming successful, right? You've really come to a very successful place in your life. And when you hopefully raise a family, you're going to raise kids well off, right? You're going to be doing well financially, God willing, and they're going to get to enjoy that. And the tough part is you want your kids to have it good, but you don't want your kids to have it too good.
Yeah.
Right. So that's the paradox of life. It's like,
well, honestly, I like what my dad tried to do with me with the whole farm thing, you know, because it's like we were upper middle class, maybe just middle class, but I would say upper middle class. And I think the reason why I didn't really have a work ethic is because my parents really took care of me. Like my parents were very hard workers, and my dad saved diligently his entire life. He saved everything. So, you know, they were very frugal. They didn't spend a lot of money, but we always had means to do what we needed to do, right? So I never saw like a hard body hustle growing up. Like we didn't need it like that. So for me, I'm like, oh, well, we've always been taken care of. Like I don't really need to work that hard. So for me, I would not have the work ethic that I have today or respect people for the work ethic they have if I had not gone through that adversity. Because that's where I learned my work ethic, because I just wanted to get out of there so bad. And, you know, one of the books that really helped me during that period was I read a book called Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill, and obviously Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, 2 phenomenal books by him.
Think and Grow Rich I read. I didn't read the other one.
But basically what it's the whole concept of outwitting the devil was like the devil wants you to be off of your purpose, because if he can get you drifting away from your purpose, then he's got you by the grasp.
Right.
So it's like and going back to Think and Grow Rich, it's like that definiteness of purpose, which back then was, I'm going back to Miami. I'm not making friends here. I'm not going out. I'm not partying. I'm not bullshitting. I'm not spending money frivolously. Like I am busting my ass. I'm paying off this debt and I'm going home. You know, that was my mentality. And, you know, sometimes, and I'm even thinking as I'm speaking right now, like I want that drive again. I don't want it the same way. I don't want to have to fucking go to rock bottom again, but I want that desire again.
The further along you go, bro, you're going to hit shit. Like if you're trying to really make waves and create earthquakes, so to speak, and really go to a place in your life that you couldn't imagine, things are going to become very difficult. There's no question.
Of course.
So it's going to be a plateau.
It's just different. You know, that was rough because it was nitty gritty.
Right.
You know, the struggle still is there. I have different struggles now. You know,
you're always going to have them.
Everyone does. Like you speak to a 70-year-old, 80-year-old has struggles. Everybody's got struggles no matter where you are on this journey, because we're meant to always be learning lessons. At every stage in our life, if we've got it easy and we're not learning a lesson, we are dying. Right. Because we're meant to learn lessons. We're meant to grow. We're meant to progress. We're meant to be on the move, you know? And so that's like, that's us. We're always supposed to be in motion. We, you know, I don't know, whatever your religious belief is or lack thereof, you know, we serve a God of motion. Like things are always in motion. The world is never stopping to stop spinning. Things are always moving. So we need to always be moving. We need to always be progressing. We need to always be going for what we want. And the problem is too many people don't know what the fuck they want. And when you don't know what you want, you'll settle for some chick that treats you like shit, or you'll settle for the chick that cheats on you, or you'll settle for the shitty car.
Well, that goes into a whole nother conversation.
You know what I'm saying? And people don't know what they fucking want, and they settle every single time.
It's sad, man. But you know what the reality of the world is, man? Those people are kind of important because, you know, those people are people who clean up. They're people who help build other people's dreams. Like, I'm not trying to sound... There are people listening to this that work for other people, and it's okay to work for other people. But it's like the reality, the blunt truth of that is, unless you have something that you're doing on the side, you're building someone else's dream. Yeah. And I don't condone that, but then again, like I'm gonna need assistance. Like I'm gonna need people to help build my dream. So,
but the cool thing about it is,
well, real quick, some people don't want to go through the heartache and headache. They'd rather make 70 a year. They're steady, they're comfortable, they like who they work for, they're okay building someone else's dream. Not everyone has to do what we're doing. It's not. It's
true.
But yeah, I couldn't imagine.
But you know what? That brings me to the major point of it all is that's why your desire and what you want needs to be so fucking concrete, and you believe in it so much that other people that don't believe in it for themselves will fall in line with your vision. Because if your vision, people don't have their own vision. A lot of people don't, and the people that are settling, the 9-to-5ers and things like that, they might want certain things, but like you said, a lot of them don't want to go through the nitty-gritty hard discomfort that comes with that.
Oh, especially after they hear stories like yours.
Of course, like who the fuck wants to sleep in their storage unit? They're like, fuck that, I'll take my 9-to-5 and make 50, 60K a year.
Yeah, but at least they get to come home to a comfortable bed.
And at least they know what's coming every 2 weeks.
Right. They have the expectations.
But if your vision is so big that other people can get behind it, that's the quality of a leader. And so not everybody's built for that, and that's okay. That's okay. But that's why if you are built for it, you got to go all in.
Oh, for sure, dude. We're here. I literally posted a story that Kobe Bryant, it was a reel with Kobe Bryant. He was just talking about what it takes to be great. And I wrote a little caption that said, unless God takes me, like unless God decides that tomorrow is my last day, I'm not going to quit until I get what I want.
100%.
And I know that about myself. I don't care what I have to go through. I don't care what I'm put through. I don't care how much debt I have to go through. I don't care what the fuck happens. I won't be satisfied. I won't be content. Doesn't mean I won't be happy with my everyday. Doesn't mean I won't be grateful for what I have. I'm super grateful for everything I have, but I'm not satisfied. And the truth is, people can ask when they hear this, well, when are you going to be satisfied? We're humans. Like you said, you're always learning and growing. And I don't know. I mean, there are some people that just want to live in the Bahamas forever, and that's fine if that makes them happy. I get enjoyment out of production. I get enjoyment out of making things out of nothing. That's what I enjoy.
It's amazing. Always progressing.
Yeah.
And and maybe obviously satisfaction is definitely a word, but I would maybe sometimes even replace that with complacency, because you never want to be complacent. Right. You could be satisfied with certain things. You always want more. You always want to do better, right? Gratitude is definitely the key to polarizing that. But at the same time, man, if you can remove contentment and chase discomfort, that's where a king is born. The king is born in the discomfort. Comfort is quite literally the enemy of the king.
Absolutely. Dude, I love this. Okay, well, this is a long...
Yeah, super long. Yeah. How long have we been going?
An hour and 16. Well, not that. I thought we were almost 2 hours in, honestly.
I felt like.
Yeah. I thought it was 2 hours in.
I thought it was too.
For sure. All right, well, we're going to wrap this up.
If you're still listening, we appreciate you.
Absolutely. Guys, please take a moment to hit the subscribe button. Leave a like and comment. This helps the algorithm. I'm almost at 1,000 subs. Can't wait to look back at this when I'm at 100,000. But guys, really take a second to subscribe. It really means a lot to me. This is something that I really take seriously. I love this project of mine. So really take a moment and subscribe. Drew, thank you for coming. It's been a hell of an episode. I appreciate everything.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, bro, my pleasure. This is a phenomenal episode. I learned a lot. I hope you enjoyed.
Yeah, no, this is amazing, bro.
It's good stuff. A very fluid, natural conversation. Yeah, it was good. There's some guests that aren't as articulate and they don't have that natural flow of conversation, so I have to kind of pull it out of them a little bit more. With you, it's all.
That's awesome, bro. Well, I appreciate it. You make a great host.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you. All right, guys. Until next time.
Thank you.